Hi, okay, David, you're on.
All
Okay.
right, 2 minutes, counting the clock. All right. um, yeah. So I'm David Doss. I have a background in marketing and technology and investing. So my focus has been on technology startups, real estate, and the blockchain and cryptocurrency space, and in many ways the intersections between those three spheres. I have an international background in technology and communications in a number of countries and continents. I've worked with major brands such as Citibank, Saks Fifth Avenue, also some of the major crypto players, including Gemini Exchange. And I'm particularly, my two main endeavors are first, consulting and investing in the real estate, technology, and cryptocurrency spaces through my consultancy Treasure Pledge. And then secondly, my cryptocurrency and blockchain investment fund, King Capital, which is focused on generating dividend income for investors while exceeding Bitcoin's growth trajectory. So as I mentioned in a previous panel, we have this approach of basically bringing the familiar characteristics of stock investing to the cryptocurrency world. So our masternode focused investing structure allows for the types of voting rights and cash flow dividends that many stock investors have become accustomed to. We offer those to investors through the collective bargaining power and technological management that our fund offers. And Carl, I think you're on mute. Oh, okay.
So now to Donald. Donald owns a really exciting company. I mean, I would love to speak about this company by myself because it is a really good technology. It saves, it's good for the ambience. It saves everything. Donald, I know you should be doing it in 2 minutes, but it's a great company. When you take 3 minutes, just explain what you're doing. We're really happy to hear about this.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Carl. All right. Well, my name is Donald Owens. I'm with H&O Green Fuels, and we are part of a transition to the hydrogen economy, but we're also developing technology using hydrogen that can be used to help save our planet today. What are VCs looking for in 2021? I hope the focus is going to be on climate change and things that will help minimize its effects. The bad news is about climate change that we really don't know what to do about it. And we can feel bad about it. We can look at all the results that we see on the news and all the bad things we see, but we really do not know what to do. We can't flip a switch and turn off all of the engines, the engines that burn fossil fuels that are harming the planet. But in the next 2 minutes, which is 3 minutes, I'm going to tell you what I think we can do, because we do have a solution. In the next 2 minutes, I'm going to give us a target, a common enemy for us to focus on. However, it's going to take a global effort for everybody on the planet to get involved, so that it's kind of like when you look at movies and you see these movies where the meteors are coming toward the planet and the alien invasion. Well, humanity tends to get together and pull everything together and pull things together so we can fight it. So that's what we need to know, what our enemy is. And our enemy, and I'm going to tell you right now what our enemy is. The enemy is black carbon. Now, black carbon is a component of particulate matter pollution and a result of burning diesel and other fossil fuels. Most of the medical community know about its harmful effects in terms of human health. And also, we also know about the harmful effects that CO2 has for the environment. But most people don't know that black carbon is actually 1,500 times worse than CO2. I didn't say 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 times worse. I said 1,500 times worse. And so until now, there's really nothing we could do about it. Particularly for these larger polluters, like in the shipping industry, aircraft, mining, and construction industries. All we can do is just do what we have to do. And we can't stop any of that because it's vital for our economy and military, for example. Every country needs a military for a host of reasons. So if you really want to know who the blame is, if you want to have the blame, we have to look in the mirror. It's us. And every time we brush your teeth, take a shower, go to the market, buy food, make a phone call, we are putting in motion everything that causes global warming and black carbon production. But black carbon is the enemy. But the solution, I'm glad to say that we do have a solution. The solution is something that we have developed that can cut black carbon pollution by 50%. Now, 50% isn't nearly as good as 100%, but it can give us a runway. It can give human beings a runway for the much needed time we use to convert to cleaner energy technologies. The beauty of the technology that can be implemented today, not 5 or 10 years down the road after we've virtually destroyed the planet and now giving ourselves a runway out. The solution is something that we call the LEAF H2. Now, LEAF H2, in essence, it cuts black carbon emissions in half and creates black breathable oxygen for the atmosphere. Just like and LEAF H2 is, by the way, is LEEF H2. And it does the same thing that a LEAF does, which is create oxygen. So not only do we reduce a particular amount of pollution and other things like that, we also create oxygen for the atmosphere. But again, this solution will only work with a global cooperative effort, bringing together some of the greatest minds on the planet. It's not just the US, it's not just Eastern Europe, Western Europe, China, it's gotta be everybody. Just like in the movies, except this is real life. The one thing it's one thing to be facing impending climate disaster and not being able to do anything about it. But it's totally different to be facing the same disasters and being able to do something about it and not doing anything.
Thank you, Don. And I know you're doing something with your company about this. I also want to say that Don has involved the technology, which is with hydrogen, which puts it in basically the diesel engine, and he will probably emphasize this is a really clean technology. And from an investor point of view, what I know that he's too shy to say, he has already contracts with several big companies, including governments, to refurbish some sea vessels, like little sea vessels. How many tons are they, the sea vessels which are refurbished?
They're big. I mean, we say tons, you mean, in terms of...
How big are they? So I said little, like just like, you know, like the normal freighter.
Well, they're mostly container ships and things along those lines. The engines, the ships were very, very, very large diesel engines that can't do anything about their pollution other than pollute.
Thank you. We have a last panelist here, and this is Damani. Damani, can you just shortly introduce yourself?
Sure. So my name is Damani Barham. I am the founder and CEO of Apex Capital. Our venture capital investments are entertainment focused, and that is primarily due to my previous career in the entertainment business. So I spent the first 10 years in the music industry with various companies, Sony Music, Universal Music Group, and certain divisions of that company. And then later transitioned into television and film as an agent and a manager. So that's what brought me here to Los Angeles. Our strategy for our investments is to leverage the relationships that I and other people on my team have in the entertainment business. So we have relationships with a lot of the major music record labels, also with the major motion picture houses and television studios, as well as the talent agencies. So our strategy is to leverage those relationships to aid our portfolio companies with their management teams, the production of content, their strategy, and then also as well as their exits. In addition to working with companies in that space, we also look for investments in entertainment property. So, for example, music publishing rights and royalties is a big investment space right now for us, as well as the industry as a whole. There's also investments in motion pictures. We preferably would prefer to do those investments with the major studios. So, for example, Warner Brothers or Sony, as opposed to independent projects, unless the independent project made sense. But we typically stay away from certain projects as a whole and focus more on the companies that make them.
Okay, thank you very much, Damani. I just have to make one small correction. You're still in your past life. You're now with Andre Berto together in the Andre Berto Fund, not in the Apex Fund anymore.
You know what?
You know, he's a
too many businesses going on. You know, my hands are always.
You are lucky. I mean, like.
And I'm looking right at Andre, but I just completely forgot about that. So yes, I am also working with currently right now working with Andre on the Andre Berto Fund. And
let me just go with the first question. I go ladies first.
Okay.
Okay, 1 second. So the first question is, what is the most important point you're looking for investing in a company? So Vera, please start. What is the most important point which you're looking for when you invest in a company? Vera?
No, I was on mute.
Okay.
Okay, the most important point. Well, I really think it's the team. You know, if the team has to be passionate, if I don't feel the team is really behind it, if I don't feel that, you know, once in the beginning things are good, it's not so difficult, but once you continue, there are so many challenges along the way. If there's no passion, if there's no, you know, good understanding between the founders, one of the biggest issues why startups fail is because founders don't get along anymore, or, you know, they just can't overcome the challenges. So I think the team is really important. Obviously, the product market fit is very important as well. You know, they have to be building something that actually is needed in the market and will be able to scale, because I mean, in the VC world, it's all about, you know, we want to have return on investment, obviously, even though, I mean, I find that we need to make sure there's also impact created as well. So it's not just about financial return on investment, but definitely an impact. I think Carl is not listening to me, but it's okay. Thanks to the others who are. So it's definitely important. So yeah, product market fit. I can't hear you, Carl. You must be on mute. But so
I
yeah.
said, I'm listening to you, and I just got saying it's like, wow, this is exactly what I agree with it from Andre. He is like, I said, like, yeah, she's a sharp girl. Sorry.
Oh, thank you, Andre. Well, you could tell me directly.
Because we have to be mute. If not, we have feedback.
But it looks well right now, I think. I mean, yeah. So yeah, this is just a short answer, but of course, I think it has to be the full package, really. It's important, like in everything in life, right?
Okay, so I give Andre, as you were so agreeing with Vera.
I do agree with you, Vera. A nice point. Oh, messed up again. Hey, hello, you hear me? I definitely agree with you, Vera. Team is everything. I mean, just me, myself, I'm a real champion, so I know what it takes. You know, when it comes to, you know, me investing into, you know, anything, I definitely look for the team. You know, just because as a fighter in general, like we just can't do it all ourselves. You know, us preparing, us, you know, getting ready for, you know, one big event. And I have to feel that same intensity, you know, when it comes to my team, because I know how it feels to sacrifice. I know how it feels not to see my family for weeks and months at a time. I know how it feels to put, all my blood, sweat, and tears into something that I'm extremely, just passionate about. And I need people on the side of me that I know that I can relate to and I know that I can depend on, when it comes to just the business, aspect of things and to make sure that we as a team, just continue to focus on the goal and willing to sacrifice for the goal to, just to make things happen. So with me, I need a great team. And I believe that's the whole package for any type of business, especially a successful business. And in a lot of situations, a lot of my businesses, I've hired champions because they're very diligent. They make sure that we get the right deals and they make sure that we execute. So when it comes to me, it's like you said, you're right. You're right on the head with that. I'm all about dedication. I'm all about people that's next to me that are willing to just do what it takes to accomplish the goal. So great team and everything. It's a must.
Thank you, Andre. So, okay, I think let's ask Benjamin, what is for you important?
There, I concur with Andre that the. Oh. You got me here.
No, Carl, you're on mute now, but when Andre was not on mute, I could hear you. Are you guys in the same room?
Yeah.
Andre, Carl? Ah, I see. Where are you? Which city are you in, actually? Do you know, Donald, where they are?
They're in Los Angeles.
In Los Angeles.
Okay, so people hear us. Okay, 1 second.
We're in Beverly Hills.
Step close to the microphone.
We're in Beverly Hills.
Nice.
So there I concur with Andre that the team is really important for us also. And what we look for is the track record as well as stable management and experience. But we can also deliver missing parts of the experience over our new alliances with Borg Ethical Mining Association. As I have to answer for 2 funds, for the art fund, background check scrutiny and the highest ethical standards of the people bringing the artwork into the fund to be collateralized, especially far beyond the normal requirements from knowing your client and anti-money laundering regulations.
So thank you very much. I would like to say, like I saw from Vera, I saw from Andre, team is really the most important, everything. So I want to know, Andre, more specific, when you look at the team, what are you looking for specific aspects from the people in the team in? Because we hear like everyone speak about the team, and I want to see, is it like the experience, is it the past education, one thing you have to,
Yeah, of course. I mean, yes, of course. I believe, with the team, of course, you're not just going to, if I'm getting ready for a championship fight, I want to try to find the best. I want to be able to find, trainers, conditioning coaches, management that have been doing this for a long time, and they have a sound track record that shows that. Me, myself, I'm the talent. I know what I'm going to be able to bring to the table, but I need my team to be able to bring all their expertise and just bring all their professional experience to the table as well, because I don't want any holes in my game. So the same thing with business. You have a great product, you have a great system, or whatever the case, or whatever the business, model is. You want to be able to have a great team with a great track record to be able to provide at its highest level, to be able to push it, market it, be able to, come up with strategy around it, to be able to push its full potential in any aspect.
Thank you, Andre. Vera, you also were saying team. What specific is in the team what you're looking for? the team coherency, how they work together, or the past experience from the people, or is it the is it just like their academical background and their upbringing, or that they have already experience in running a company? What is your winning team?
Well, that's the like $1 million question, right? If we all knew, we would be investing right in.
Now you're on mute.
I'm not. I'm not on mute.
Vera, you have to
You can unmute
unmute.
me? I
can hear you, Vera. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So I'll speak to David.
Vera,
He can hear me.
you are on mute.
I am not. The other guys can hear me.
No, she's not.
We can hear.
Ah, I'm sorry, I was on mute.
All right. So so I was saying that obviously if we knew who the perfect team is, we would all be investing in that team. So it's really difficult to find. I think it's the most difficult to find is the right people. But what's really I think important is that I prefer if it's a team of more than one founder. Usually, I think 2-3 founders is better, just because people can be complementary, and that's really important. So you have somebody who is maybe really great in operations and the other person's great in finance, so the complementary skills are really important. Of course, having built startups before and being like a serial entrepreneur adds value, just because you've done it before. You know that there are challenges along the way, you succeeded, and you want to do the next thing, so it's helpful to have experience. But having said that, I really don't want to eliminate all the first time founders. I think it's important that people try and build. We need more innovation in this world. I mean, I think that's really the only way, right? I mean, now also going through COVID and all the innovation that came, and acceleration of that innovation is thanks to the, to startup founders who come up with those ideas. So yeah, experience is important. Complementary skills are important. Leadership skills are important. That CEO has to lead a team. So they have to understand that people come first, and not just he's not in it for money, but he's in it because he really believes, or she or they really believe in what they're doing, and that's really important. And I think Andre is agreeing with me, so I'm happy to see that we should invest in the same company. I think where we have the same values. So yeah, many things. And also somebody who has a global mindset. I think it's really important to think global. You build something locally, but you really build it for global. There are even though there might be region specific challenges, but really, I mean, people are more equal than they're different. And one actually silver lining of COVID is the fact that even though most of you guys are based in LA, you're probably looking at startups that are not in LA or California or the US. So now you can actually look globally, and that's something that this traditional VC models have been disrupted because of the pandemic. We can now do we're doing the Zoom calls. We can look at startups that are based in countries that we might not even been to before, just because this kind of the the whole VC model is undergoing innovation as well, and looking at startups beyond their demographics and geography. So yeah, it was a bit beyond the team question, but I thought I already bring some new aspects into it.
If I could add something to those points, I mean, it sounds like we all agree that the team is the most important, and I would agree with that as well. But to add kind of my own spin in terms of what I look for that kind of category, one question I ask myself is this team and this project something that I can actually be passionate about? Is this a team that can kind of imbue me with their same passion and hold my interest? And that's for a couple of reasons. So I mean, one, if they can do that with me, chances are they can also do that with their employees, with their customers, with their partners, right? The second is for my own investing, would I care enough to actually put my money in and keep it in? And similarly, when I invest, I'm often also consulting either formally or informally for the company. So am I going to care enough to actually put my time in whatever capacity to actually ensure the success of the company? And then thirdly, if it's with a fund that I'm managing, why would I ask other people to invest if I wouldn't care enough to put my own time and my money into it, because I want to make sure that I actually also share the vision of the team enough to actually ensure long-term success, not just for that investment project, but for the investors that are joining me.
Thank you, David. So now I would like to ask Donald, because he is taking investors' money for an M&A with a membrane company. He wants to buy one. What do you look for in the team from the companies which you want to acquire? Donald, please. What are you looking for? And
Let me unmute myself. Well, I guess I look for the same thing that everybody else looks for. You have to have some idea that people like what they're doing, because if you do know they like what they're doing, they're subject to be good at it. If they don't like what they're doing, they're not subject to be good at it. But I've been blessed with finding a lot of people that surround me that really, really know what they're doing. They have more knowledge about things than I have, and which is the way it should be. But like I said, I guess I'm no different from anybody else that realizes the team that's in place is going to be the reason why anything and everything works. It can't work without it. And again, when you have somebody that likes what they're doing, it's 1,000% better than anything else.
so, Donald, as you are looking really for acquisition, there's a company, they have CEOs, they have, of course, people producing the membranes, and you have a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, when you look at the leadership team and when you look at them, what do you look for them to integrate them in your company? So, I mean, you can, of course, not overtake everyone, or you try to overtake everyone. What are you looking for to meld teams together? Because you did this in the past. And
yeah, well, I can honestly say that what I've been blessed with is I've found people that really know how to mesh with others. And like I said, the bottom line for the company that you're looking at trying to acquire, they have to feel some level of confidence about what they're doing, and some level of hope about how they can do it even better and want to do it better. So, other than that, I'm not quite sure. We've managed to, like I said, I've always been blessed to find and surround myself with people that really know what they're doing. And I think my only real talent is that I know how to draw them to me. I don't know why, but for some reason I find them. So, and because without them you can't do anything. One of the things that anybody knows that will build any kind of a decent sized company is that you cannot possibly know everything. And there's so many things that you won't know and ever will know. But if you surround yourself and you get lucky enough to surround yourself with people that do, then everything kind of works out.
okay, Andre, just for saying, can I just say one more thing to this thing before you go to the next question? I give it to Andre for a second.
Yeah, Donald, you're extremely right, and you're definitely blessed to have a great team, or just acquire amount of great people around you, just around your business. Because I'll tell you this, it's a lot of trial and error when it comes to that as well. Especially when you have someone that's the CEO, of their company, with of course it's it's your vision, so your passion is going to be sky high. So it's a little bit of trial and error sometimes to be able to find a good army, or a nice group of people that share the same passion, in whatever type of business that you guys are trying to push forward. But once you do, I think it's very important that we need to continue to push out there that we have to very much take care of that group almost like a family, and really put a lot more emphasis in taking care of that group, because it's very, very, very rare that we're able to put it together the right way. So
Yeah.
Okay, so let me go to the next question. Everyone from you and myself as investors, we hear a lot of pitches, we hear a lot of things, and we often know right away, like, okay, this goes really sour and this is a really bad thing. I know the video will be also watched later on from people which are seeking money. So I would like to ask, what is the worst thing which somebody can do during a pitch meeting, or what can be done by a pitch, which is basically like there where you say that, okay, I give up. Andre, as you were speaking last, I give it you. Then we go to Vera and we go ahead. 1 second.
yeah, for me, and definitely a lot of deals come to me on a regular basis because of the position that I'm in, and a lot of other great businesses that I'm able to really like brand and require. But overselling for me is a no-no. If the product is good and your track record and history is solid, it should always just speak for itself. Like overselling makes me nervous. It really does makes me nervous. I really want to hear the good and the bad about your business. A lot of people fall in this space, and I think it's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. But I'm a fighter. I'm more like take that Mike Tyson approach that he always said. He always used to say, everybody has a plan until they get hit. So I think you always have to have a plan B, a plan C, a plan D, because just like I said before, just coming off of that, any type of plan or strategy that you might have, you can fall into a situation like this with this pandemic. So you have to be able to have a great squad around you that's going to be able to really adapt and still make things happen. So overselling, nah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Vera, what is a turnoff for you when somebody pitches you something?
Well, I think first of all, it all depends, who is pitching when. There's not one pitch. There are different ways of pitch. But, the elevator pitch has to be really short. Is it at a conference? Is it at a demo day of an accelerator? Is it at a proper meeting? So it all depends, right? You can't just give one answer to that. But I think what's really important is whenever you do a pitch, no matter what length, I have to understand what is the issue? What's the problem that you're solving? Right? How are you solving it? What stage are you at? It has to be very succinct, to the point, short and clear, precise, and it has to evoke some emotions. I have to get interested. Like, it has to attract me as an investor. Why do I actually want to invest, right? What do I see? How will you be able to scale? Do you have the right people to scale? Do you have the right vision, to scale? And at the very end, whenever you pitch, and if people will be listening to it, and what I find very often is not being done is that people don't ask. There's no call to action at the end. I need to understand, are you asking me for money? How much are you asking for? What are you going to be deploying this capital for? So it's really important to really understand what the money is being raised for. So that's important. If I'm left after the pitch without knowing what this person actually wants from me, then it's a lost opportunity for the founder. So yeah, I feel like Damani has not said anything yet. Maybe we should, give the word to him. I'm sure he has a lot to say, and I think he's kind of shutting off.
Two things that stick out to me that I've experienced is, one is lack of understanding of the market. So there's a lot of, especially early stage founders, that will tell you that they are targeting 70% market share in like a $900 billion industry. That's not going to happen. So lack of understanding the industry is a really big turnoff for me, as well as investment in their own company. And I don't mean that from a monetary standpoint, but I've been in meetings with early stage seed round founders who focus too much on the exit strategy, or founders that are so consumed by their 9 to 5s that they don't really invest in the business. And for me, if you're starting a business already thinking about how you're going to sell it, that's a big turn off for me. And if you're not willing to really bet on yourself and further grow your business, that's also a turn off for me. One thing that and this is probably like the worst advice to ever give someone, but it's advice that we used to give to artists often in the music industry, is you have to be willing to sacrifice for your career, and you have to be willing to be uncomfortable. So while I understand having to have a 9 to 5 and having to provide for yourself while you're building your business is very important, you have to take risks. And sometimes you have to be willing to get very uncomfortable to succeed. And a lot of people aren't willing to do that. So those are two of the things that I really look at.
So, Donald, what do you think when you are looking right now to get investors to give you money to acquire a company? What do you think they're looking for? You hear a lot of perspective. Do you think there is something special for your use case?
Well, I'm not quite in the same position that some of you guys are in. I haven't looked for any real investors yet. When I say real investors, I have a lot of small investors. I have a lot of friends and family investors, and that, I mean, more than most people can even imagine. But in general, most of the investors that I have and have gotten is because I communicate well. I let people know what we're doing. I know where we're going. I let them know where we're going. I'm very transparent, and people believe in what I'm doing. And because they do believe in what I'm doing, and because I am able to communicate what I'm doing very well, I think they invest. Now, again, most people will never hear of a friends and family organization that has over 5,000 investors, but I have over 5,000 small investors. And it's really kind of unbelievable, to be honest. But we have been able and managed to do what we have done because of those small investors. But again, but nobody that has invested in my company, even though we're getting another set of investors now because we're moving to a manufacturing stage and a few other in a different level. But no, most of the people that have invested have not, what's the word I'm looking for? They've not risked their lives. So because they haven't, they, even if I don't make it, which I know I will, but they won't be hurt. And but like I said, my situation is a little bit different than I think anybody else is on the planet.
Thank you, Don. So I have a question. Let's start with Vera, then we go to Domani. We are running short on time. We started a little bit late, so we probably can go 5 minutes over. So please try to stay in a minute. So how, Vera, how do you want to leverage your investment? You have money, but you look, of course, when you invest in a company, also to have additional leverage by investing in. What are you looking for?
Well, for me, it's really important that this company will be creating impact. I think all of us nowadays can't be just thinking of a financial outcome. I think, and it goes back to what Donald was also saying, we're all responsible. I think it's really important that we create impact. and it goes hand in hand. It doesn't mean, it's either return on investment or impact. We can do both. So I, of course, pay attention to, the kind of female male ratio. I'll try to look more female led startups, just because we need more of that. We need more, female led startups as well as female investors. So I want to see that. I mean, I'm in emerging markets more than anything, right? So I'm based in the Middle East, which I consider emerging markets, especially for you guys in the US. So for me, it's important. What are they contributing? Be it like for many fintech startups, it's about banking the unbanked people, or now in healthcare, being able to provide healthcare opportunities digitally to people who don't have access to doctors potentially. So the impact that's created with the investment is very important to me.
Thank you. David, you're in the blockchain. So leverage is for you probably a lot of things. So 1 minute, how you leverage?
How do we leverage? So there are a couple of components. For one, we focus on essentially locking in the base of the capital that's invested. So looking at basically that dividend or cash flow approach. So the best way I could kind of give an analogy of that is almost like you buy a property with stocks, and then your tenants pay you in stocks. So in a sense, there's kind of leverage upon leverage, because the property value could increase, but also the stocks that you're getting as cash flow, in a sense, could increase. So that's one way. Another way is the focus on decentralized finance. So there's basically a whole system being built out around decentralized finance, where in some ways our fund can leverage through lending, but also can leverage through borrowing. And doing a bit of both, while in theory it sounds like it could cancel itself out, can actually create further opportunities.
Okay, thank you. Andre, about leverage. Let me mute myself first. Okay, go on.
The leverage aspect for me may be a little different from the rest, because of course of the position that I've been in most of my life. There's a big difference between dumb money and intelligent money, and we don't try to give dumb money at all. At the companies that we take in, we want to make sure that we already have established companies, partnerships, friendships, that we can use and leverage these companies, so everybody can win at the end of the day. And I've been great friends with a lot of guys, just say like in the entertainment sector, I like the Jay-Z's, the Diddy's, the Mark Cubans, and other big, business brand, CEOs. So it'll be easy. It'll be, we have a lot of other different ways to leverage on a lot of different levels when it comes to companies that we take in.
Thank you very much, Andre. So now we go to questions, of course, everyone important. And this is, how do you think, and I combine two questions, that COVID is influencing your investment strategies, and how do you think that the recent events, and of course we speak there about the storm of the capital and unsecuredness in the United States, how this recent events and COVID were influencing your investment decision. For the United States, are you still looking to invest in United States companies for COVID? Did you change around? I know everyone interested a little bit. Just 1 minute summary. Let's start with who I never started with. I started with Damani, and then we overgave to Vera, to Andre. Okay, let's start with this.
Your sound was echoing, but if I understood the question correctly, it was regarding strategy and approach during COVID.
Correct.
During COVID
And the unrest.
Okay.
And everything else was going on.
And the unrest.
In terms of investment strategy, I think not so much. The strategy stayed the same. In terms of considering risk and considering investments in the United States, I think my view on it's a little contrary. The United States is still going to be the best investment market to be in for reasons that I don't think are really impacted by what's currently going on for a long term. I think that this is probably between COVID and the transition of power here, things will be questionable and slightly unstable for the next 12 to 24 months. But at the same time, I believe that even in the current state that the country is in right now, we still outperform and still provide a lot of value that is far and beyond many of the other markets. So I wouldn't look at this as a situation to avoid investment in the United States, but I would take the opportunity to look at other markets. But I still think this is the best place to be. You're on mute, Carl.
Okay, Vera, quick. What is your point of view?
Well, I think the money is right. The US definitely is still leading, with China probably really catching up a lot. I'm looking in emerging markets. I think there's, like we said, talent is everywhere, opportunity is not. So I would really like to give more opportunities to people who are in countries like, Pakistan, for example, that recently also closed, they were in the news, at least here in this region. So I'll be splitting. In fact, the fund I'm working on will be splitting between the US and the Middle East.
Okay, thank you. I give it to Benjamin. Quick.
From an ethical mining standpoint, we see that minerals are going up in value, and we see a competitive advantage in a highly valuable growing market. With a world full of uncertainty, there is one thing that will always be certain. Minerals will always certainly be valuable. From the art fund's perspective, artwork is a high valuable, unregulated market with minimal technology involved in this sector. This being the case, blockchain ledgering and the tokenization of lending against art assets that would be unmonetized otherwise, art is a better investment in these times of uncertainty. People like hard assets. And with the last month, it has increased instability and uncertainty. And as we discussed with that, funds increasingly move offshore. As well, this increases the attractiveness of hard assets. This will ensure that the art fund and the mining fund will do extravagantly well.
Thank you very much. Andre, please.
Listen, the pandemic it won't last forever. The pandemic won't last forever. And a lot of companies and business owners have made, tons of money. And of course, a lot of people have lost. And I think this goes back to what we spoke about before, and just forming a great team that knows how to adapt in any type of situation or circumstance. Just like, another analogy with the fight game, just like the fight game, you can come in with a game plan, but what separates the good and the bad companies are going to be the ones that can adapt quickly in the middle of any type of situation if it goes left. So we really try to invest in companies that are long running companies and not just little quick fix companies. In this pandemic, right now, of course, it's a hard time for a lot of people, but there are a lot of new millionaires and billionaires that are being made right now. So it's just a fact of it really goes back to just having a great team. Can you go away?
Andre?
Yeah.
I apologize for this. home office, we had some commotions in the background.
Okay, dogs are nice.
So
Can I just say, you know, what Andre said, I think it's super important, you know, like Darwin said, those who will survive are not the most intelligent or the strongest, but those that are most adaptable to change. So that's really important. And that has shown a lot during this recent months, or actually a year almost now, that that's exactly the case. So yeah, adapting to change is really important.
So it looks like we are out of time on this panel. Carl, do you have anything to add?
yeah, I wanted just to thank everyone for being participating in this panel, and thank you. It was really an exciting panel. It was a really crowded panel. We had a lot of opinions and we had a lot of information. Thank you so much, and please introduce the next panel. Thank you, Thelma.
Great, thank you, Carl. Just a moment. We are doing a quick transition. Our next panel is tokenizing professional sports.